Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Eventful Life. Thank you guys so much for joining me. As you know, today we have a special episode because we are on site at the Planner Suite Live, where we are fellowshipping with other creatives, other women in business. And so I'm bringing some baddies to you this week. I'm so excited about that. And I have one of them with me. We just came from the stage where, let me tell you, she was interviewing me and now I get to interview her.
It was really fun.
It was great. Thank you so much, Ariel, for being here.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
So Ariel is the owner of Ariel Lewis, LLC. She's also the owner of A-List Experiences. And so I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about her business.
Sure. So Ariel Lewis LLC is an on-site, on-demand bridal makeup and hair company. We service pretty much the DMV area with that business, and it has been around for almost 10 years now. Yes. And then A-List Experiences was a newer venture that kind of split into two. So one half of it really focuses on event makeup and hair and corporate. So production teams and television type stuff will use us frequently for that aspect. But then also A-List Experiences, which is more of a brand activation portion of the business that has nothing to do with makeup at all.
Which I love it, and she's doing both of them effortlessly. So tell me a little bit, or tell us a little bit about kind of how you got started down this path. Like, you know, most of us don't just wake up and say, hey, you know what, today I'm gonna go out and be an entrepreneur. How did you get here?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't intend to be an entrepreneur. It's not like I woke up one day and was like, I want to start my own business.
Right.
It was more like I was going along the path that I thought life was supposed to take for me. I was a speech language pathologist for the Howard County Public School System, SLPA actually, and then after my daughter was born, so I'd been practicing in the Howard County Public School System for 5 years. When Selena was born, though, I really felt like I couldn't keep up anymore working with other people's children all day and then coming home to my own children. Like, it was lot. So
sure.
Makeup was one of those things that I knew I had a talent for. Throughout college, I'd worked as a makeup artist for Bobbi Brown Cosmetics at Nordstrom and decided that I was just going to try and kind of do a little side hustle, not thinking of a business at first, just thinking like I needed to
have this out.
Right, yeah. So an extra source of income since I was going to quit my job and be a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
And then things kind of took off and I started meeting other artists and I saw that there was very much this like shut down culture of people not really wanting to share. So if I was asking people like, what's your favorite primer or your foundation, they would just be like, look, these are my trade secrets, I'm not sharing that with you, and just very closed off.
Isn't that crazy?
It was. So I decided like I wanted to use that and do the opposite of that and create a team where everyone would be very open and sharing in a sense of community and a culture of like inclusivity. So started bringing on team members, hair and makeup, and then next thing you know, it kind of snowballed. And one day I woke up and realized this is like a legit business now.
Right, like I'm like really
doing makeup.
In business.
Yeah. So then I started to shift all kinds of things within my mindset and within my business to really like put the infrastructure in, but I didn't have like a business plan or anything like that to start.
Okay.
So that's kind of how it started. There was no pressure, which was helpful.
Right, which was helpful, I'm sure. And I love the way you just kind of were like, okay, I'm going to go with it. Like, it's happening. So it sounds like it organically just manifested, right?
Right. But then I also had to, mentally start making adjustments when things really got serious. Because I recognized, like, I really enjoy being a business owner.
Right.
And then somebody told me once that I was an entrepreneur, and I was like, what's that? And then I knew that I was one.
I love that. It's like
sure, I guess I'm that thing.
Tell me that's what I was doing.
That's what I was doing.
Like,
it was before it was sexy.
It
was before it was sexy. Now everybody's an entrepreneur, but I didn't realize that at the time.
At the time, I love that. And how did you push beyond allowing any fear to creep in? Like once once somebody calls a spade, then it's like all of a sudden it's a spade now. And you're like, okay,
pressure.
wait. Exactly. That's not what I want right now,
Right.
So how did you push beyond that? Because I think it's something to be said about how we succumb to fear or the pressure once we know that it's like all eyes are are on us now to like go out and kill it.
Yeah, so I feel like, again, because I didn't start my business from this space of heavy pressure where I was like, I am going to be in business and I'm going to, generate X, Y, and Z income within this amount of years. And there was no pressure like that. It was more like, I'm doing this thing that I really like to do. And next thing you know, I'm making good money doing this thing that I really like to do. And then the pressure came from within. The pressure didn't really come from everyone else. The
from
pressure
outside, not exterior. Okay.
Right, because it was like always up to me. Did I want to go back to work, or did I want to keep trying this thing out? And eventually, the fire was lit in my belly that I had the taste of what it was to just genuinely be my own boss and have this opportunity to curate a business that was everything I wanted it to be. No partner or anything like that. So I loved it, and I thrived off of that creativity and just that leadership role evolved in me. And so and I still to this day don't really feel a ton of outside pressure because I don't really care what everybody else thinks about my business. I just know my nose isn't my work, and I work really hard and I'm successful because I don't care what everybody else thinks.
I think that's the way you have to be, right? It's just focus forward. So what happens when, and this is something you and I talk about all the time, when we insert the family life and we start to have the kids and the husband and all the things, right? And so now we're trying to figure out, how do I do and be both, and God forbid I be good at both. How do we do that?
So I think for me, I kind of always keep at the forefront of my mind, you can have it all, you just can't have it all at the exact same time. So when I'm with my business, I am 100% with my business. Don't come asking me for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and chocolate milk and whatever it is that you want when I'm within the four walls of my office space in mommy work mode, right? Because I need to respect, and they need to respect this fact that I'm working right now. And really crucially important that I teach my children, to me at least, I'm very, very hit home with them the fact that I like my job. I love what I do. When they start whining and saying oh, do you have to go to the hotel and do that thing you're going to go do? I'm like, nope, I don't have to, but I want to. Because I love what I do. And I hope that one day when you grow up, you love your job as much as I love my job, so it doesn't feel like you're being ripped away to go do it. I genuinely wanted to be here today and do this with you. So there's that, but then there's also the opposite of that, which is when I'm with my kids and I'm playing with dinosaurs and pretending to be Rapunzel and running all around my house and doing dance parties.
You mean you have to be characters too?
Yes. Don't come calling me because I'm not going to answer you. I will literally ignore you. And honestly, there are hardcore times of me just literally being unplugged. When I'm on vacation with my family, realistically as business owners, there's times where we can't just completely unplug, but I set aside times where I tell my husband, we have a conversation about it. This is not going to be one of those vacations where I can just completely submerge in vacation mode.
So
I'm going to need an hour
in advance.
I'm going to need an hour a day to just knock out some emails, take some phone calls, and so that I can have peace of mind that everything's okay. But for the rest of the 23 hours of the day, I'm all family. So it's a balance. So that's kind of how I do it.
I love that. I think you hit on some real key points that I just want to recap for you guys. She talked about, number one, really being present in the space that you're in at that time, right? So not trying to do this juggling of sorts where it's okay, no, I got the kiddo over here, but then I got the phone call going over here, and I'm okay, wait. It's really respecting, and I like the fact that you said teaching yourself and others around you to respect the space that I'm in at this specific time, and a lot of us we don't do that because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, right?
Or we think we can do it all at the same time.
That's true, right? So it's okay for us to take off the cape every now and then. So then the other thing you talked about was, the art of communication with those around you, with your loved ones particularly. I love that because we have to communicate, especially with our spouses, because they may not live in our world. Well, they don't live in our world, and so they don't know what we're doing. They just see us doing something. And so the communication part, hey, I'm gonna have to be dedicated to this for a couple of hours, but then after that, I'm all yours. I'm here on site now, gone for a couple of days. Guess what? I had to communicate, listen, I am all yours when I get back, but for now, I'm all in at the Planner Suite. So I love that you said that. And so let's kind of segue into, even as you're continuing on, business is growing, things are being scaled. So how are you, what place are you in now as far as your business, and where do you see that going? Like what's in the future for Ariel Lewis?
So I think for me, ultimately, like the main goal at this point is I've come to terms, or the realization that what I'm truly passionate about is business, right, and entrepreneurship, and teaching other women kind of what I've learned, making it to where I've made it, and seeing so many women reach out to me asking for advice or asking for just some insight. I really enjoy, from a genuine, authentic space, like sharing my bucket of knowledge and being like, I don't know if any of these tricks are going to work for you, but they worked for me. Like,
but you can pull out of my bucket.
Right, pull out of my bucket. I could talk business all day. I'm more passionate about business and entrepreneurship than I am about makeup at this point, which I never saw coming, right? At first it was just like, shift, all I love is makeup. Like, talk to me about makeup all day, every day. Now I'm like, I can still talk about makeup all day, every day. I love it, but like that's not at the core of like where I feel like my purpose is now. So I see the future of Ariel Lewis LLC doing a lot more speaking, doing a lot more mentoring, just sharing a lot more of my personal story to help other women feel empowered and excited and non-intimidated by their big thoughts and dreams. So that's kind of where I see that going. And as far as the actual business, I don't see that like stopping, and I don't see it not continuing to grow. Eventually, those who know me well know I'd like to sell my business because I think as an entrepreneur, that's a very good goal to have, right? I didn't make my business to hold on to it for the rest of my life. I made it, and I live by that. I structure my business daily to evolve in such a way that it is self-sustaining, so that I can one day package it up, put a bow on it, and hand it over to somebody else.
Wow, I love that. I love that. I mean, talk about forward thinking and preparing yourself for the future and the things that are ahead, not just looking at what's right in front of you, right? And we just got through having a whole conversation about shifting and pivoting. So
and evolution.
So this is so timely. So what is one last, I want to back up. How do you feel being a mompreneur and entrepreneurship has shaped your kids?
Oh, I think that it's, my kids are very young, 8 and 3 years old, but I see in Selena already this pride that she has in me of like, my mommy's a girl boss, and my mommy like owns this business, and she asks a lot of really good intuitive questions about it, and I don't know that she'll want to be a business owner one day. She might not, but if she ever did, she would certainly have a great role model to start with that, regardless. But I think that she really understands that like, I'm a person outside of being her mom, and that's really important because my whole identity isn't in my children.
In your kids.
It's who I am isn't wrapped up in my husband either, and it's not totally wrapped up in my business. It's wrapped up in like me, who you are, like who I am. I was a person for however many years before I met Eric, and however many years before I had my children, however many years before I had my business. And so now like it's really neat to see her understand that evolution. Kind of happen.
I love that. And the reason I threw that question in there, guys, is because sometimes we're worried about how our business is going to impact our kids, how it's going to shape our kids. But I think that they are better off for having seen us go after our dreams, conquer our goals. And so what's the last little piece of advice that you would share with, a woman out there who is looking to start her business, or maybe she's already started her business, but she's just hitting some hard, rough patches?
So my advice would be really hone in on what you're trying to achieve at some point, right? Because I was throwing spaghetti at a wall in the beginning, and the pressure wasn't there. I wasn't like in it to win it. I was in it to just have fun and enjoy myself. And there's a certain era of like need of that space in your business. So alleviate some of the pressure from yourself. I mean, a lot of women come to me telling me they have full-time, really great, 6-figure incomes jobs, and they're like ready to quit. And I'm like, ooh.
You're like, wait,
don't do that just yet. Hold on now. Like, let's be reasonable here. I mean, you make $100,000 a year. Like, let's not, throw all of that away just yet. So like allowing yourself to know it doesn't have to be this all or nothing thing. But you'll know when it's the right time to really leave whatever that crutch, so to speak, is of this other job, because you'll be saying no to things that you just know intuitively you should be saying yes to. And from a mathematical standpoint, you should be able to calculate the monetary value of the no's, right? So if I'm saying no to $5,000 projects, $2,000 projects, $6,000 projects over and over and over again, or even a couple $100 projects here and there, but it all adds up, then I'm like, that tells you something. Case studies and market research, it's not just for the big people, it's for the little people too, right?
Absolutely.
I still do that.
I
So
do too.
before launching A-List, I literally came up with a template website and like some advertisements, and it wasn't even a real thing yet, just to see how many people were going to inquire because that was going to give me good data and stats to know if there's a need in the market for it,
Research, data, all of that.
And surround yourself with like-minded women. Reach out to women like us that have lived it and that are coming from an authentic, genuine space of wanting to share thoughts with you, because we exist. It's not just the two of us. There's a lot of people like us out there, and you know what? Honestly, like one of my biggest motivations for shifting into this evolution of me being a mentor to other business owners has come from the reality of the fact that, like, my husband's in corporate banking. It's like men have been doing this for years.
Ages.
This whole like, oh, you and I are on the golf course playing together and eating lobster, and so I like you, and therefore I'm going to recommend you to X, Y, and Z. And next thing you know, you're in this like cool kids club, and everybody's referring you to people, and you're in this it crowd. Because why? Because one person let you in and decided that you were like part of the good old boys club, so to speak. And women, we need that too. We need to be that for each other.
Absolutely.
So I want to be a part of that for this next generation of women coming up.
I love that. I love that. Phew, y'all, that's a lot to unpack, okay? But I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. Ariel, you shared so much. I mean, such powerful information, so many nuggets. I mean, I could go on and on, from building relationships, being authentically you, understanding that you don't have to succumb to this pressure of gotta get it done, gotta do this, gotta do that. Like, enjoy the journey, find joy in it. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Go back and re-listen to it, because I guarantee you when you do, you're gonna be like, I missed that the first time. So thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The Eventful Life. Remember, you can have it all, but you have to be okay with it being on your own terms and your own time. See you next time, friends.